on First Tuesday. Does this monk in Thailand hold the secret of a cure to heroin addiction?
In 10 days I was completely cured. I didn't have one iota of drugs in me anymore. It was the first time I felt good again.
Good evening. It's the first Tuesday of 1988, a new year in which, based on present trends, we're going to have more heroin addicts in the world than ever before. In Britain alone, there are over 50,000 addicts, and the frightening thing is that so far, no one in the West seems to have found a cure or an effective and consistent way to persuade addicts to break the habit. But tonight we look at a country which has the purest heroin on earth, but which also claims the most effective cure. It's Thailand, where a Buddhist monk says his method of breaking heroin addiction works in 70% of cases, a figure he says is confirmed by follow-up research. It's simple, it's rough, it's an oriental way of killing the dragon.
The Buddhist monastery of Tham Krabok, Thailand. The abbot, Phra Chamroon. He runs a unique cure for drug addiction, so successful that his life is under threat from the drug barons. Phra Chamroon used to be in the Bangkok police and saw the effects of the narcotics trade firsthand. But he left the police to become a monk, believing that this way he could do more to fight drugs. For 3 years, he lived in this cave, just behind the monastery. "30 years ago, he founded Wat Tham Krabok, the monastery of the bamboo cave. The monastery has spread out of the cave and across the valley. Over 60,000 drug addicts have come here to be cured."
We have a very serious heroin addiction problem in Thailand. The figure we think is about 300,000 to 500,000 addicts all over the country. The main bulk of the addictions are in the urban areas, such as the slum area of Bangkok, where we have a very serious problem. Once this problem started in any place, it will spread to other areas. You can see all over the world that in the big cities we have a serious problem of heroin addiction.
Suwana is one of the many victims of Thailand's drug trade. She lives with her daughter, who is paralyzed with polio. Twice a day, she injects heroin into her knuckles to hide the needle scars. Suwana is ashamed to be a junkie, so why can't she stop?
ว่ามีสาเหตุนะที่มียังไงกุ้มใจอะไรอย่างเงี้ยแล้วก็สามีก็มาเสียด้วยแล้วลูกก็เกิดพิการด้วยสามีเสียตอนอายุเท่าไหร่ประมาณอายุ20แล้วแมวติดมานานเท่าไหร่แล้วคะ3 ปี
Not for the first time, Suwana is trying to cut the habit. Every day, she goes to the local health center. She is given methadone, a heroin substitute used throughout the world to reduce the addict's craving for heroin. Many Western doctors have been forced to admit that just taking methadone is no cure for drug addiction. After 5 weeks of methadone treatment, Suwana is still hooked on heroin. Her doctor holds out little hope for her.
Suwana, like many people, will be on heroin again and again. And if she took too much heroin, she will die. In this clinic, we try to treat the addict people with the methadone, but it did not come out good. Unfortunately, the cure rate is very low. The temporary cure rate, I think 5%, and the permanent cure rate is look like a 0.
Suwana will soon be back in the slums, at the mercy of drug pushers. If she doesn't get the support she needs there, methadone will never be enough.
People have been talking about methadone. Methadone's a joke. It's a bloody joke. Methadone doesn't work. And at least in Thailand, methadone is more expensive than heroin. And you don't get half the kick. Ask the addicts. Methadone doesn't work. You know what they say? I mean, a rough translation in English, methadone sucks. I shouldn't say that, but that's what they say.
Udom, another slum dweller, hooked on heroin-filled cigarettes for over 20 years. Relatives have taken his children away because he can't hold down a job. He has become part of the heroin trade. Most Thai addicts mainline, injecting heroin straight into their veins. Somat Srisukdi, known as Toon. Only 22, his heroin intake is massive. Toon has tried to get off heroin using methadone, but it failed, to the great distress of his mother.
ก็ด่าว่าบ่นให้ไปเลิกอนาคตยังไปอีกไกลอะไรต่ออะไรเงี้ยเตือนน่ะนะอยากให้เขาเลิกนี่เคยบอกให้เขาเลิกไหมคะเคยค่ะนานมาหรือยังคะก็ตลอดมาก็ตั้งแต่ติดใหม่ๆอย่างเงี้ยแล้วเขาติดมานานสักเท่าไหร่แล้วคะ2 ปีกว่าแล้วนะฮะ4 ปีแล้วเหรอ4 ปีแล้ว4 ปีแล้วแล้วก็วันหนึ่งเนี่ย4-5 ครั้งคิดเป็นเงินสักเท่าไหร่
400 กว่าบาท
เท่าไหร่นะ
400 กว่า
วันหนึ่งประมาณ400 กว่าที่ซื้อของนี่นะแล้วก็ตูนมีครอบครัวใช่ไหมมีแฟนมีลูกหรือเปล่า
ก็เงี้ยท้องแล้วก็ไป
อ๋อเขาหนีไปอะคะ
เขาไปจะไปเอาตังค์แล้วแม่ก็ไม่ให้มา
Most of these guys, or girls, when they're on heroin, they're dead. They're the walking dead. They're no use to anyone. We even pray in church sometimes that they die quickly.
Toon's addiction costs him far more than his daily wage, so he's forced to steal to pay for his drugs. Desperate for a way out, he and Udom have both chosen to go to the monastery of Tham Krabok, encouraged by Father Joe. Committed to her methadone cure, Suwana can't join them. Toon and his mother know his last chance could lie with the abbot's cure.
His methods are the only way, because the addict comes in, has to volunteer to come in. He gives them a new set of clothes. They throw off their old clothes, their old life. Then he gives them a sermon to try and change their heart. Then they go in front of the statue of the Buddha or the sacred things in their life. They swear by the sacred, some swear by their mother or their mother's death, that they'll do this.
A group of addicts sets off to the monastery of Tham Krabok to undergo the abbot's 10-day treatment. They all know the abbot only allows them one attempt at his cure. This is their one and only chance. Toon is accompanied by his mother. Some of the abbot's methods would only work in Thailand, but some Western doctors believe they have much to learn from his approach to addiction as a spiritual problem. Father Joe agrees.
And this is the essence of religion. And only with that can you do anything to cure drugs. So quit joking about methadone and therapeutic bullshit if you don't have these basic issues.
Despite his intention to quit heroin, Toon can't make the 2-hour journey without one last fix. He has hidden some heroin in his mother's handbag. For the next 10 days, one of Toon's greatest battles will be with himself. The outcome will depend on which is more powerful, his resolve to come off heroin or his craving to stay on it. The abbot will attempt to put Toon through an experience so extreme it will change him forever. There can be no half measures. In preparation for the addict's arrival, the abbot is gathering herbs in the hills around the monastery. He selects a variety of ingredients, which he will blend to make a special medicine for the addicts. After leaving the Bangkok police, he spent several years studying the natural laws of herbal medicine and evolved his special treatment. The abbot says his herbal medicine is the key to the physical side of the cure.
วิธีผสมยาของเราเนี่ยในเมื่อเราเคี่ยวน้ำชนิดหนึ่งเอาไว้เราบดอีกชนิดหนึ่งเอาไว้อีตอนที่เราจะมาชั่งมาตวงอย่างชนิดบดแล้วก็อย่างชนิดน้ำจะใช้เกลือกี่กรัมหรืออะไรเนี่ยหน้าที่ผสมเป็นหน้าที่ของหลวงพ่อโดยเฉพาะเลยซึ่งไม่มีองค์อื่นที่จะรู้สูตรในการผสมนี้เรารักษามา20 กว่าปีเราไม่เคยเปลี่ยนสูตรยาเลย
After much boiling and stirring, the end product, a bitter liquid, notorious for its violent effects on the addicts who must take it. Over 50 addicts a week come to Tham Krabok. The abbot claims 70% of them are cured for good, a success rate unrivaled in the rest of the world. The cure is given free. The abbot's treatment has a fearsome reputation for its strict disciplines and harsh methods. No doctors are allowed into the monastery to monitor the addict's progress. No addict is allowed out till his 10 days are up. They will be guarded by monks to prevent their escape. There's no turning back. Before they are accepted for treatment, all addicts are closely questioned on the extent of their addiction.
ผงขาวกัญชาเคยไหมฝิ่นเคยไหมยาเม็ดเคยลองบ้างไหมแลกเกอร์
1 in 10 are rejected at this point. The monastery only takes in those who are truly determined to come off heroin. All Toon's replies are cross-checked with his mother. The monastery keeps files on each of the 60,000 addicts who have received the cure since 1959. Toon is accepted and signs in, surrendering himself to the abbot's rules. No drugs, no cash, no personal belongings. Toon is told to strip down. The addicts must also surrender their own clothes for the 10 days they are here. From now on, he will be in the hands of monks who were addicts and have been through this process themselves. The new arrivals must now take an oath never to touch drugs for the rest of their lives. It is taken in front of the abbot, who says it is central to the cure. It is an oath of absolute commitment, binding till death. All addicts must take it, whatever their country, race or creed. The obligation to honor it will help sustain the addicts on their return to the outside world after the cure. In the meantime, it will help carry them through the painful days ahead, when the craving for heroin will be at its strongest.
ทุกคนต้องเข้าใจนะว่าการเลิกยาเสพติดนี่สำคัญมากเข้าใจไหมไม่ใช่มาหยุดถ้าหยุดนี่เราอาจจะต้องไปใช้ยาเสพติดอีกอันนี้เลิกเลยทำว่าเลิกนี่แล้วไม่ใช่พูดว่าเลิกอย่างเดียวหรือเป็นสัจจะด้วยเราต้องเข้าใจอย่างนี้นะตอนนี้เป็นครั้งสำคัญในชีวิตที่เราเลิกหรือเรารักษาโดยการรับสัจจะว่าจะไม่ใช้ยาเสพติดตลอดชีวิตฮินสลาฮิสเลฮิสเลฮิ ฮิสลาฮิสเลฮิสเลข้าพเจ้าขอถวายสัจจะต่อดินฟ้าอากาศว่าไม่สูบไม่เสพไม่ส่งเสริมให้คนอื่นสูบเสพไม่ทำการค้าไม่มีไว้ในครอบครองไม่เจือปนกระแสยาคือยาเสพติดฟินเฮโรอีนมอร์ฟีนกัญชากระท่อมผงขาวตลอดชีวิตนับตั้งแต่บัดนี้เป็นต้นไป
Udom and the others are about to go through the most feared stage of their treatment, an ordeal no one is meant to forget. As water is added, the medicine takes effect. The abbot says this vomiting quickly cleanses the body of all traces of heroin.มีเพื่อนฝูงที่ติดอยู่ด้วยกันสักกี่คนมีเยอะเลยมีเยอะค่ะ40 กว่าคนแล้วเคยรุนแรงอะไรกับโยมมั้งไหมไม่เคยเขาดีกันแล้วมานี่เขาตัดสินใจเด็ดขาดใช่ไหมเขาสมัครมาใช่ไหมจ้ะโยมมีความรู้สึกยังไงบ้างที่เขาดีใจถึงจะมาด้วยโยมขอเขาอย่างเดียวนะขอให้เขาว่าให้เขาแล้วก็เป็นคนดีเท่านั้นตัดสินใจเด็ดขาดแต่บอกว่าที่ผ่านมาแล้วโยมอภัยให้หมดทุกอย่าง End of day 1. Toon is craving heroin. Can he make it through the next 9 days of the cure? Day 2. The addicts are all craving heroin. Toon is not alone in wanting to go home, but Udom is resolved to stick it out.
พี่ดมไหนแล้วนัดทำไมพี่ดมไม่ไป
ผมตั้งใจจะเลิกให้ได้เด็ดขาดผมก็ไม่กลับยังไงก็ต้องทน
ก็ต้องทนให้ได้พี่ดมเห็นแล้วก็ไม่ได้
ไม่สนใจอะไรนะผมจะเลิก
แล้วแต่ว่ายังไงพี่ดมก็อยู่ได้จน
ก็อยู่ได้ยัน10 วันแน่นอน
Each morning for the first 5 days, the addicts must take the medicine. Many believe that traces of it remain inside them forever and will kill them if they ever take heroin again. Udom surrenders to the abbot. But Toon cannot submit. He is resisting the cure and fights the medicine. Toon tells the abbot he cannot go on. The abbot refuses to take no for an answer and insists there is no going back on the oath. The abbot's central aim is clear. For the addicts, the process of coming off heroin is to be a powerful experience that will change them forever. For the rest of their lives, they must never forget the trauma they now go through because of heroin, or the help and support they receive from the monks in coming off it.
เรามีโอกาสนี่นะขณะนี้เรามีโอกาสอยู่นะเข้าใจไหมเดี๋ยวให้เวลา1 ชั่วโมงแล้วตอบฉันด้วยว่าจะอยู่หรือไม่อยู่ไปหา3 องค์ 2 องค์ไป
Addicts often want to quit at this point. The monks use every ploy to strengthen their resolve to stay.
แล้วแม่เขาขอครั้งเดียวให้เขาไม่ได้เหรอเขามาขอแม่มันเยอะแล้วแต่เด็กจนโตแล้วขอแม่มันเยอะแยะแล้วแล้วแม่เขาขอมันไม่ได้ครั้งเดียวให้เลิก
จะบอกว่า24 ชั่วโมงก็มากไปมันอยู่ที่ขึ้นอยู่กับการตัดสินใจของเขาว่าเขาจะอยู่หรือเขาจะไปหรือเขาจะทำลายตัวเองหรือเขาจะไม่ทำลายตัวเองอันนี้เรามีสิ่งแวดล้อมพอสำหรับเรื่องของเขา
หมายถึงถ้าส่งเขาออกไปเนี่ย
ใช่ถ้าส่งเขาออกไปถ้าเขาปล่อยให้เขามีอันตรายนี่แหละความรับผิดชอบของผู้ให้การบำบัดรักษาสูงมาก
โยมต้องทอนเอา5 วันแค่5 ถ้วยแล้วก็สบายเข้าใจไหม5 ถ้วยแล้วก็สบายแล้วไม่มีอะไรที่มันขัดข้องเลย
ไม่เป็นไรเดี๋ยวเรานั่นยาน้ำไม่ต้องกินเราบอกมาตั้งแต่ทีแรกนะบอกว่ายาน้ำทานไม่ได้เราก็ไม่เป็นไรนี่เราก็ใช้ใหญ่ไอยาบำรุงใสๆนั่นนะยานะ
ยาหน้าท้อง
ใส่หัวยาเนี่ยแล้วเป็นมันขายเท่านั้นนะเราหาย
เองไงต้องอยู่นะเองอยู่ลงเองอยู่ลงหมูนะ
ตกลงเราพูดไม่ได้ใช่ไหม
ฟังหลวงพ่อดิ
Toon's whole body aches. All he can think of is heroin. Confused and exhausted, he's caught in the throes of withdrawal. But too weak to resist, he capitulates and is led away to take another of the abbot's herbal medicines. The pills will not make Toon vomit, but will bring on sweating and diarrhea, quickly getting rid of much of the heroin inside him. Day 3, the cure continues. Pritchard, a long-time junkie in Bangkok, before he came off heroin at Tham Krabok. He's stayed off for the last 14 years. Today, he's come back to reenact his story in front of the addicts and a group of schoolchildren. His mission now is to work for the abbot, touring the schools and colleges of Thailand to educate the young against drugs. The abbot's strategy of prevention could well save more addicts than he will ever be able to cure. For our group of addicts, the struggle against the effects of withdrawal is far from over. Toon is on the verge of delirium. The abbot gives all the encouragement he can.
อย่างของเรานี่ที่จะผ่านไม่ได้เนี่ยไม่มีต้องผ่านไปได้เชื่อหลวงพ่อสักนิดหนึ่งนะเพราะหลวงพ่อทำให้หายทุกคนที่มา
Day 4. Toon is weak. He has lost a lot of weight through sweating and diarrhea. He joins the others as they take a different herbal medicine before they head off for their daily sauna. Thick with medicinal herbs, the saunas are designed by the abbot to cleanse and strengthen the whole body. The last remains of the heroin are sweated out. As the evening bell calls the monks to prayer, Toon collapses and falls into semi-consciousness. His condition is causing serious concern. Toon's life hangs in the balance. A monk, himself an ex-addict who's been through the cure, is assigned to nurse Toon through the next crucial hours. Day 5. Toon has pulled through the night. Physically, the battle has been won. His body is free of drugs. His physical strength is returning. But will he have the mental strength to stay the course for the rest of the cure? The abbot moves in quickly to bolster Toon's resolve. For all the addicts, the first battle is now over. The next 5 days is a time for recuperation. Ruled by heroin for years, they must now find a purpose in life to fill the void heroin has left. Some will stay on at the monastery to help other addicts.
When I arrived here almost 1 year ago, I was completely on my wits' end. As I told before, short before suicide, no more money. I was living off the streets. I started stealing and cheating. And, well, I came to Tham Krabok. I heard about Lumpur. I heard about his work. And I was still a bit dubious about it. You know, you hear so many things. And I was a born cynic, actually, and I didn't really believe there was any cure anymore. But anyway, I was completely despaired. I arrived here. In 10 days, I was completely cured. I didn't have one iota of drugs in me anymore. The first time I felt good again. I heard, of course, Lumpur, the abbot, for his good work. I decided to stay on a little bit here to help other European addicts, to tell them about it, because mainly it's for Thais, and some Europeans might have some notion that it's just for Buddhists or just for Thais, you know, and there might be some misunderstanding. So I decided to stay a little bit here to help other foreign addicts.
นี่ก็2 วันอดทนหน่อยเนี่ยเดี๋ยวพรุ่งนี้แม่มาเยี่ยมก็ดีใจแล้วเราอยู่ในสภาพแบบนี้นะอาบน้ำมากๆนะ
ใช่รู้นะครับเดี๋ยวไม่งั้นผมไปแล้ว
แล้วมีลูกกี่คน
ลูกเพิ่งมีคนเดียว
มีคนเนี่ยผู้หญิงผู้ชาย
ยังไม่รู้ตอนเพิ่ง
ยังไม่คลอดอ่ะนะ
ตอนที่ก็ยังไม่คลอดก็ทะเลาะกับผมมา
แล้วคลอดออกมายัง
ตอนนี้คลอดได้
คลอดแล้วแต่เราไม่รู้ใช่ไหมยังไม่รู้ว่าผู้หญิงผู้ชายแล้วอยากได้ผู้หญิงหรือผู้ชายเนี่ย
ได้
ฮะ
ไม่ใช่
ผู้ชายเนี่ยเราตั้งใจเลิกให้ดีเดี๋ยวเขาก็มาหาเรา
Day 7. A week ago, these people were junkies in Bangkok. Now, the monastery is giving them a taste of skills which could stand them in good stead in the future. Toon and Udom have been through an experience designed to change their lives. But the abbot feels it will only do so if they can gain a firm foothold in the world outside. Day 9. Unknown to Toon, the abbot has summoned his estranged wife, Pao, to the monastery. The abbot believes Toon's wife and child could provide the sense of purpose Toon will need to stay off heroin.
รู้สึกว่าปลอดภัยแล้วคือคล้ายๆเลยว่าค่อยชั่วแล้วอาการก็ดีขึ้น
แล้วอย่างนี้เขาต้องอยู่ต่อหรือเปล่า
คือยังไงเราก็พยายามให้เขาอยู่ต่อเขาติดมากนะใช้ไอ้ค่ายาเสพติดในวันหนึ่งตก400 บาทมากเลยทีเดียวระหว่างที่เขาติดนี่เรารู้ไหมว่าเขาติดมากถึงขนาดนี้
ไม่ค่อยทราบค่ะ
จำได้ไหม
ไม่ได้
ฮะ
หน้าเป็นไร
แผล
นี่ไปตามที่ลพบุรีนั่น
แค่ไหน
มีน้อง
ร้อย
เพิ่ง
ถ้าไม่เขียนหมายว่ามันไม่ตอบ
ไปแล้ว3 ฉบับ
ตอบก็ไม่ตอบ
นึกว่าเป็นอย่างอื่นไปล่ะ
กำลังคิดอยู่
อย่าไปคิดอย่างนั้นเขาก็ทุกข์ใช่ไหมคือเราก็ไม่ต้องคิดอะไรมากต่างฝ่ายต่างก็โหสิใช่ไหมอย่าไปนั่นเลยเพราะว่าเด็กเมื่อไหร่นะออกมาเมื่อไหร่
วันที่ 8นี่เอง
วันที่ 8 เดือนตุลานี่ก็เท่ากับนั่นนะ
ครึ่งเดือนกว่าตอบเขียนจดหมายไป3 ฉบับไม่มีตอบมาเลยมีตอบฉบับแรกฉบับเดียว
เดี๋ยวฉันจะให้คุยกัน2 คนนะนั่งคุยกันตรงไหนก็ได้คุยกันแค่เดี๋ยวนั่งไป
A rock group is brought into the monastery as a glimpse of normality for the men and women who have been through the cure. Udom looks on, free of heroin for the first time in 23 years. Outside, Toon and his wife keep talking, guarded by a monk in case he tries to escape before the 10 days are up. Day 10, the last day of the cure. Still under guard, Toon is allowed out to visit his wife and baby at his mother-in-law's house. This is part of his cure. His mother-in-law still sees Toon as an addict and a threat. In the months to come, he will have to prove to her that he is a changed man. His wife, Pao, will also need convincing.
ตัวมาเห็นลูกเนี่ยรู้สึกยังไงบ้างอ่ะ
ดีใจมากถ้าหลวงพ่อเขาไม่ให้อดได้ผมไม่ได้เจอลูก
แล้วคิดว่าจะทำยังไงในอนาคตมีโครงการยังไง
แบบอยากได้บาแบบการก็เลี้ยงผมมาได้นานอยากจะเลี้ยงมันบ้าง
แล้วแปลว่าแปลคิดว่าแปลจะให้อภัยแล้วลืมได้นะที่แฟนเขาอุตส่าห์ไปเลิกมาแล้วได้อะถ้าเกิดเขาเลิกได้จริงๆนะถ้าเกิดกลับไปอีกก็ไปแล้วตอนนี้ไม่อยู่คราวนี้พาลูกหนีเลยไปไกลๆเลยตอนได้ยินนี้แล้วตูจะทำยังไง
ไม่หันอีกแล้ว
When we last heard from Toon, 2 months after the film was shot, he was still off heroin. He'd gone back to work in Bangkok to provide for his wife and baby. Before Udom left Tham Krabok, he assured the abbot he would become the family breadwinner and take charge of his 2 sons. Since returning to Bangkok, he stayed off heroin and started a small business selling shirts. Meanwhile, Suwana has completed her course of methadone. But like so many addicts all over the world, she still hasn't found a way out.
Well, it's a different country and a different culture, but is there anything that those dealing with British addicts can learn from the abbot's methods? What about his famous medicine, for instance? We found its major ingredient was nicotine, a toxic dose which would induce severe nausea and vomiting. So it's a harsh emetic, nothing more. As to the abbot's overall approach, experts who saw our film were impressed. Addiction is a spiritual thing, said a member of Britain's Narcotics Anonymous, and it needs a spiritual cure. The abbot obviously sees that. Dr. Michael Gossip of the Drugs Dependence Unit at the Royal Bethlehem Hospital in London agreed. Of course, we can't build Buddhist monasteries in Chislehurst and have people being violently sick on the temple floor, he said. But we must be a bit humble. And when we've absorbed the lessons the abbot can teach us, their practical use will be determined by how we translate his methods into our own cultural situation. And who knows what that might mean? Quite conceivably, he said, taking an oath in front of Eric Clapton rather than the local vicar. Well, next month we do indeed turn to a high priest of the music of our time and a death that none of us could ever have imagined and maybe still don't understand. As a result of privileged access, we gain a unique look into the mind of Mark Chapman, the man who shot John Lennon. So until the first Tuesday in February, goodbye.